A lot of people looking for WordPress hosting end up comparing Bluehost versus GoDaddy WordPress hosting company review to figure out which one is actually better. Both are big names, both have been around forever, and both claim to offer the best experience for WordPress users. But is one really better than the other? Or does it just depend on what you need? There's one key difference between these two hosting companies that not enough people talk about, and if you don't know about it, you could end up making the wrong choice. I thought this was a good time to go over it while I'm building a website, so let's break down the real differences between Bluehost versus GoDaddy WordPress hosting company review and which one might actually be the better choice for you. Since I'm just working in the background and not showing anything directly on screen, I'll make sure to explain everything as clearly as possible so you can picture it. First off, let's talk about why people even compare Bluehost and GoDaddy in the first place. They're two of the biggest hosting companies out there, and they both offer WordPress-specific hosting plans. That means things like automatic updates, built-in security, and tools designed to make WordPress run smoothly. But just because they offer similar features doesn't mean the experience is the same. One of the biggest advantages of Bluehost is that it's officially recommended by WordPress. That's not just a marketing gimmick. It actually means WordPress works better on their platform. The setup is seamless, there are fewer compatibility issues, and they optimize their servers specifically for WordPress performance. GoDaddy, on the other hand, is more of a general hosting provider. They do offer WordPress hosting, but it's not their primary focus. That's why sometimes WordPress sites on GoDaddy don't feel as fast or as smooth as they do on Bluehost. It's not a huge difference, but if speed and performance matter to you, Bluehost has the edge. Now, let's talk about ease of use. If you're new to building websites, Bluehost is usually the better option. Their dashboard is cleaner, their setup process is easier, and they guide you through everything step by step. GoDaddy's interface isn't bad, but it's a little more cluttered, and sometimes you have to dig around to find what you need. If you're someone who just wants to get your site up and running as fast as possible without dealing with unnecessary settings, Bluehost makes that process a lot smoother. But here's where things get interesting. One of the biggest downsides to Bluehost is that they try to upsell you on extra services throughout the checkout process. It's not a deal breaker, but if you're not paying attention, you might end up adding things to your plan that you don't actually need. GoDaddy does this too, but Bluehost is a little more aggressive about it. The good news is, you can just uncheck everything before you check out, but it's something to be aware of. When it comes to pricing, both companies offer similar introductory deals, but the renewal rates are where things change. Bluehost tends to keep their renewal pricing a little more reasonable, while GoDaddy's prices can jump up quite a bit. That means if you're planning on sticking with your host for the long term, Bluehost will usually end up being the more cost-effective option. Now, let's talk customer support. If you ever run into an issue, Bluehost support is generally better. They specialize in WordPress, so their team knows how to troubleshoot problems specific to WordPress sites. GoDaddy's support is decent, but because they offer so many different services beyond hosting, their support agents aren't always as knowledgeable when it comes to WordPress-specific issues. So at the end of the day, if you're comparing Bluehost versus GoDaddy WordPress hosting company review, here's what it really comes down to. If you're building a WordPress site and want the easiest experience with the best performance, Bluehost is the better option. It's optimized for WordPress, it's easier to use, and it tends to have better long-term pricing. GoDaddy isn't a bad choice, but it's more of a general hosting provider, and the WordPress experience isn't quite as polished. And here's the best part. If you're considering signing up for either of these, I've got links in the description where you can get a discount on both Bluehost and GoDaddy. So before you check out, make sure to take a look at those to get the best possible deal. Hopefully, this breakdown makes it easier to figure out which hosting company is right for you. Because picking the right host isn't just about where your site is stored. It directly affects speed, security, and even how much money you spend in the long run. If you get it right, you're setting yourself up for a way better experience from the start.